creature.
Tickle. Time, bitch.
And welcome out to This Week in Geeks prototype. This is our final discussion on all of the stuff that happened at Summer Game Fest. This is our post-mortem. You know, we've had individual episodes in the last couple of weeks covering all of the major shows and some indie stuff sprinkled in because there's always too much indie stuff to go over. But it's finally time for the crew to sit down to talk mostly as an overview of, you know, what was shown, as well as our final thoughts on everything as a whole, as we usually do every single year. It's Alex, the producer, joined with Ken and Mike, the Birdman. How are you doing, guys?
I'm awake. Thankfully, the guys with the stupid lawn care finally stopped outside my window. Jerks.
Well, you know what? It was a hot, crazy last week. It was super hot. And then, like yesterday, the weather started to break a little bit. It's a little bit cooler today, so it's actually a good day to record.
Mm-hmm.
It's also really nice down here as well. Like, it was hot, but then the rain hit, and then it wasn't as hot. It was still a little hot, but not, like, ridiculous. And now it's just, like, a perfect friggin' day.
It's a great day to take your Nintendo Switch 2 down to the park, find a nice tree to camp under, and go play some Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes, pretty much. Like, so, I guess before we get into anything, have you guys been doing anything recently? Have you watched any movies, gone to the theaters? Have you been playing any games at all?
For me, I actually went to the movies a lot this weekend, because my wife was at a funeral, unfortunately. I went to go see Disclosure Day. Very quick review of that. It is an undercooked X-Files episode directed by Steven Spielberg, who is told you can't direct the entire season, but you can have the back end of the show. So yeah, wait for it to come out on streaming.
I will say I also saw Disclosure Day. I think it's a script that is uneven, and the only reason why it's not uneven in presentation is because Emily Blunt lifts her side of the script up.
Oh yeah, she was great. I also finally saw Obsession. There's a jump scare in that got me in the theater to go, Jesus.
Oh, it gets literally everyone. It got me too.
It was pretty intense. And I also finally saw K-pop Demon Hunters on the big screen, which was really cool. I went to the sing-along version this weekend. I was one of 3 people in there, so definitely the oldest by about 20 years. But that was really fun. So other than that, playing games, I finally am starting going through all the DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I've already got the Platinum Trophy, but I don't have all the DLC completed, so I'm just doing the Daima stuff now. And I have been playing a lot of Overwatch because that is what I do, and it's been a pretty great time doing that because my Farah is main and she is awesome. So that is what I've been doing.
For me, I caught a bunch of movies. I was able to watch the Amazing Digital Circus finale movie event, The Last Act. That I don't want to put any spoilers out there because that goes live for everyone as of this recording this week. So once that's out, you can just check out my Letterboxd and that will have my actual full thoughts. Suffice to say, it answered a lot of questions that people were asking, is my non-spoiler thoughts on the final episode of that. But other than that, gaming-wise, I dove a little further into Cursed Words, which is the Balatro Boggle game That is PC only currently. I would assume it's probably going to come to other consoles this fall, if not early spring. But yeah, overall, not much in terms of gaming, because it's like I'm barely banging through Rebirth right now because it's like, hi, my controller is literally falling apart in my hands.
Oh, good lord. Also, that is like on a first playthrough, if you're taking time to soak it all in, it's 120, 130 hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
easily.
exactly.
I'm also playing that game, and I will say this: it took me 2 years, but I finally enjoyed Queen's Blood. I still don't know 100% how it works, but once you get into it, it's really fun.
It's the hardest thing to explain, because like once you figure out the dynamic of sacrifice in the game, like the later part of the, like I would say the last three quarters, once you build a sacrifice deck, you're like, oh, now I get it. And then you're like, somebody else will be like, how do I do it? And you go, I have no idea how you do it. You just eventually figure it out. Eventually it clicks for you, and you're like, oh, I get it. And I talked to my brother about it, and he's like, oh, I don't know what you mean. And he's like showing me his deck. I'm like, yeah, I've got the same deck. And he's like, but you came to it from a completely different way. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter as long as it works.
Yeah. Yep. If it works, it works.
Exactly.
I don't think I've said this before, but there's also the blackjack version of Balatro. It's on Game Pass. It's a good indie game. It just crashed a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning that in private a few times. You're like, hey, this looks really cool. And then like messages like, oh boy.
Yeah, the further I got into the game, the more the game seemingly crashed a lot. So it's rough around the edges, but like overall, I still enjoyed my time with it. It's like about a 10-hour. It took me about a little less than 10 hours to beat the full game.
I think it's called, isn't it Black Jacket?
Yeah, Black Jacket is the name of it.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass. It didn't cost me a dime, so it's like, might as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I guess for myself, if you were listening to the show, I got a nasty bladder infection 2 weeks ago. Right, literally a day before we were supposed to start getting prepped for coverage of all of the Summer Game Fest stuff, and the day that I was going to be doing press screenings of a few of the games, including Exodus. I got to see that about 5 days early. And it was like, I was like, how did I get this? And I was like, isn't this something that only women get? And it turns out like 90% of the time, and then 10% of the time when a guy can get it, it's bad because apparently like it requires a lot heavier antibiotics, higher dosages for longer times. Like it's a higher dosage for like 5 days longer than usually women usually have to take it. And I got that stuff, and I'm like, okay. They're like, oh, by the way, Alex, you're not driving, are you? I'm like, no, I don't drive. You know, I take the mobility transit. And he's like, oh, good. And I'm like, why? He goes, because it'll make you really drowsy and really queasy. And I'm like, well, I've had like stomach surgery, so I won't feel the queasiness because I don't get that feeling anymore. And the pharmacist goes, okay. And he looks, he goes, so what other pills you on? I'm like, you know, here's my diabetes pills, here's my blood pressure pills. He goes, oh, you're going to be very tired. And I went, what do you mean? He's like, this makes you drowsy. This one makes you drowsy. This one makes you drowsy. Yeah, you're going to sleep. And I was like, I'll be fine. And then it was like zero energy for 5 days or 7 days straight. And I went, oh my God.
Days to be.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to sleep for like 5 hours, get up, watch our stuff, do any press screening stuff I've got to do, cover it, and then go back to sleep. So like that Summer Games Fest week was a blur. Plus it was like 35 degrees Celsius outside every single day. And I was like, oh my God. So after all that was done and technically everything was over, actually the Nintendo showcase was or the Nintendo Direct was showing. I watched that in the morning, and then I had to go to a doctor's appointment. Unrelated, it was just a follow-up for like regular, here's your doctor's appointment, here's
normal shit,
renew your prescription sort of stuff. And I was like, wait, I haven't been out in like 9 days. You know what? I'm going to go do something else without not even just going to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and then I went and saw Masters of the Universe, and that was fun. I felt human again going out. And
Still, of
I
course,
had a
the
pretty
best
good
part
time
of
with
that movie, oddly enough.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I was like, okay, obviously, my thoughts of it, the short end of it, because we'll probably talk
We'll
about
talk
it at
about
some
it for
point.
sure. Yeah.
Especially when it hits home video. We'll see. I forget. It depends on who puts it out, right? But we'll
It's
definitely have
Amazon, so
that'll be something. I know that JT said he just went to see it, so that might be something we'll have to have JT on. We'll do like a topic on maybe. We'll maybe do a loose canon or something on the two films. The original and that.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. So I mean, my thoughts on it were, it was more fun than I expected. It looked like Idris Elba was having more fun than everybody else.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. He had more fun here than he did in Disclosure Day. I'll say that.
well, that's not Idris. That's Coleman Domingo.
See, I thought that was Idris Elba the entire time.
Oh my God, you racist!
Well, they both
look
speak with that.
they have a very similar mannerism to them.
It's how they
Dude.
talk. It's so calming. I want him to read me bedtime stories.
Oh man, that happens to so many different actors over the years. How many? Even though their faces don't look the same, how many times have you, or at least your parents, confused Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're it's not just the names, it's similar roles. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that happens a lot. Or you'll find like you'll be like, oh, it's so and so. You're like, no, it's not. And you're like, what? What do you mean?
A Bill Pullman version of Aliens would hit very different. Oh, my God.
So would a Bill Paxton Independence Day?
That would be awesome. Just to
See
hear
what
him
I'm saying?
deliver the speech right at the end. Oh my God. Anyway.
Yes, exactly. So moving on, we've talked about the major showcases. The only ones that I had to do solo were the Xbox and Nintendo because timing didn't line up with everybody. I was also not going to be available at the times when everybody else was available.
You were also at the end of your sleepy time.
I was at the back end of my sleepy time, and I was like, "Oh, I'll feel better here." Did not. I slept like 15 hours one day, and I was like, "This can't be good." And when I did go to the doctor for my checkup, I explained what had happened because I had gone to a walk-in clinic to get checked out that first time, and the doctor's like, "Oh yeah, at the very end, yeah, it kind of builds up on you, but you should be good now." So because of that, I was like, "Guys, I'm gonna go to sleep." And when I wake up, eventually, I will do the show. So because of that, we will have to get your guys' thoughts on those last couple of major showcases. As a background here, we're not going to be doing every indie thing here. We sort of highlighted those in the individual shows. And those games...
I don't think any of us really watched them in full, except maybe...
I watched... I skimmed them a lot of times at 1.5 speed, and the idea was... if I saw something really good, I made a note of it, and I would grab the trailer to put in our own internal compilation videos. So for any listeners out there, what I usually end up doing is to catch the other guys up, because it's like 30 hours of videos over the course of 2 weeks if you add up every single indie showcase.
Yeah.
What I do is I will watch and skim it while I'm doing other stuff, and I will make notes of every single thing shown, and I try not to get duplicates from each show, because a lot of times there's overlap, or there's like, here's a reveal trailer, and here's a slightly different reveal trailer here.
Yeah, it's
I will
gotten
grab
real
them.
bad.
Yeah, I will get them, and when we're doing our roundups for each of these, like, I will try to pair them, like, everything that happened before, the Sony State of Play that was indie, I will then pair with the Sony State of Play so that anybody can catch up and go, oh, so this is the indie stuff that was shown up to this point. And it usually amounts to maybe 10 minutes per one of these videos of, maybe 4 or 5 games that were really neat. A lot of those we'll probably end up reviewing and talking about at a later point. It's more like, hey, this might be something to keep an eye on. But we usually try to cover just the major showcases. And luckily this year, this wasn't a year where like Ubisoft had anything, which is something we'll have to discuss at some point too. But like Ubisoft, Nacon didn't do their thing this year. There was no THQ one this year because
Nacon
obvious reasons.
had a whole thing where a bunch of their shit got canned, and they're dealing with bankruptcy court and whatnot.
And same with Embracer with their restructuring. They're not doing theirs. There wasn't a dedicated Capcom one this year, and that's because they spread their stuff amongst everybody else. There wasn't, Konami doesn't usually do one, and Square doesn't always do one, but there wasn't a dedicated EA one. I didn't even see EA really being a part of the IGN stuff. Usually when they don't have their own, they partner with IGN, and they really didn't have any games to show this year except for like one. So that made it easier on us because most of
the teams are just cooking right now.
Exactly. So it was just basically the three platform holders plus Jeff, and that makes it a lot easier for us to cover in 3 or 4 distinct episodes. So we'll just do a quick rundown of PlayStation, everything that was revealed, because it'll help us get a better idea of how they all stand, in relation to each other, because it's always interesting to see who had a stronger year than others. This year, I want to argue at the beginning that for the most part, this was maybe the strongest year of Summer Game Fest ever. It's certainly ranks up there with some of the best years of E3 overall.
Yeah,
I would say
this
so.
was a super strong year.
Yeah, in terms of what they showed. In terms of the presentation, that's a whole nother story. And
with technical issues and all this, and that some of that can be probably attributed to just so many people watching more than ever. But also, like since the pandemic years, this is probably the best E3-ish season since like 2018, maybe. So we'll see. But yeah, PlayStation, everything that was announced, for anybody that is, wants to catch up again, listen to our previous show on that because we went a little more in depth. But here are the major reveals, not in the order necessarily that they were revealed, but God of War Le Fay, which is the spin-off God of War that is is it a sidequel? Because it happens at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like parallel.
They said it's parallel because it's taking place between God of War 1 and 2.
Which is
it
cool.
Looks like, it starts at the beginning of the first 2018 God of War, and then it looks like it will continue on beyond into probably ending. It might end after, or show a scene at the end. I think is the prediction after Ragnarok.
Yeah, I would assume so.
So it's probably going to be used to set up whatever the next game is.
But it looks surprisingly cool. I saw some people trying to poo-poo it online from the usual chuds, but I think it looks fine. It looks fun.
People that appear to be upset that they don't have control of their own life tend to complain about things like this.
Yeah, it's lame. But I think it looks neat.
You know what? I judge each game on its own merits and whether or not I will like it. It looks like I will have a good time with it, and we'll see when we probably get review codes. So
it's Mommy of War, and I'm here for it, so it's fine.
Yep.
Yes. Kamuri was shown off. That is the new game, the new spooky game from, I forget her name. She was the developer that worked on what was that game
so she was a major artist behind Okami.
Right, and then she was the co-director or something, or the co-director of
Ghostwire Tokyo before she left.
Yeah, before she left, and then they had to finish it, and it was not. This to me looks more like what she had intended.
Yes, 100%. The original pitch of Ghostwire Tokyo felt like this more than what we got.
Yeah. So it looks like third-person version of that, or does it jump between both?
Well, it is third person. It looks very character actiony.
Co-op action game. Cool.
Yeah.
Stuntman Hollywood.
This could be really fun depending on what IPs they're able to pull from. They've shown like Back to the Future, if I recall, Fast and the Furious.
Universal has brought back Universal Interactive for it.
Yeah, they have Universal deal So
Now-
Saber's
anything
got them.
Universal. So
Now, if I had to pick a couple car chases I wish we could do in this game, the Italian Job from like 2004, because that was a really fun sequence. The
well,
Born Supremacy. I think that had the really cool one.
yeah, I think the Bourne films are on the table, I believe, because that's Universal, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I would kill for a Transformers sequence, but that's Paramount, so that's not going to happen.
yeah.
But that would be really cool. Or Knight Rider or some shit like that.
Well,
That
they
could be
Rider-
did
Knight Rider's
tease
in it.
Knight Rider.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they like did show Kit. Yeah, I don't know. I think this looks goofy, fun, and stupid.
The big franchises that they have are Back to the Future, and Fast and the Furious. Any car that was in that.
Yeah.
They try to think. Do they have anything else? I guess. Don't be surprised if there's like Jurassic Park stuff in there.
Yeah, if you could
Yeah,
play
that
as
would-
like the Jurassic Park cruiser, that might be really fun. Actually,
They might have like a big ass fake dinosaur attacking you. And you
Though
gotta like.
I also know I said it in our state of play comment, but I think one of Spielberg's projects that's on the table right now is a remake of Bullet,
Okay,
Interesting.
which would be
that could
Okay.
be fun.
Which if that is something that Universal picks up, you know what? Bullet driving down the hills in San Francisco would be awesome.
yeah.
Do they have access
So,
to
yeah.
Mad Max? Do I recall
No, that is
okay. Warner Brothers, right?
that is technically George Miller himself that owns that.
Okay, so
think in
he
the-
could make an agreement if he wanted.
I think in the trailer it was Death Race.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay, that's still
Maybe.
pretty cool. Hey, to play as Frankenstein, I'm pretty cool with that.
You might be able to drive around as a minion.
Oh God.
So we'll see. But anyway, they showed off a little more Marvel's Togon, announcing the new team.
The second to last team. All the bad
which-
guys. This is the bad guy team.
Yeah, so it's what do they call it? Knights of Doom. I
Knights
think.
of Doom, yeah.
And that's Doctor Doom, Magneto, Carnage, and Green Goblin. Good choices.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm in
Song
for Carnage.
Wancho makes a great Doom. I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear him as Doom.
Exactly. So I mean, it looks like they made the smart choices, especially for launch, right?
Oh yeah.
They showed off a little more Onimusha. I'm still not convinced on that. It feels like weird energy in the way it's. I know there's a demo, out, so we'll probably have
the
to check it
demo's
out.
out there. You play the demo if you feel the demo is the way you want it playing, then you're fine. A lot of people have been really excited about it. At least some of the people that I've seen play the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's smart to put out a demo because I'm on the fence. I think having the ability to play it because the tone and message that they're putting out is a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see from there. Gen Atlas, that was announced like a couple years ago, I think.
I completely
Yes. But it
was-
forgot about it.
It was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was like Project Robot, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Project.
Yeah,
Robot
yeah.
Was the
And that's
name.
that's from the developer and that did from the old Japan studio.
Eco, Shadow
Yeah.
of the Colossus, that whole team.
He was I forget was it Ueda, I think his name.
I think, yeah, Ueda.
He was the principal, I would say, like leader of the largest of Japan studio teams.
Yes.
So when the Japan studio shut down and it was Asobi is the only one left under was it Nicholas Doucette, I think runs that studio, making Astro. Basically, there were like 3 or 4 teams, I think, at Japan studio. There was like the ones that did the indie stuff, like the Gravity
And then
Fall.
Yeah, and then also the team that would help FromSoft a lot of the time.
Yeah, and then there was like, but the A team, the team that was the largest
Yeah.
that did the bigger projects, that was his team. And when he left and they shut down, he basically gathered a bunch of veterans as well as new people to form a new team, and this is what they're making. So, in essence, spiritual successors to the stuff that was done on the PS2 and PS3 era of Japan Studio. And then we had a it wasn't a new release, but we had a deep dive into Wolverine, which looks
it looks
awesome
cool.
and bloody and weird. By weird I mean I want to see more than just the linear slice, but we're getting pretty close to release.
Yeah,
I mean, you threw Jean Grey, which is my favorite X-Men character. Period. So it's like, well, shit. Now I gotta get a PS5.
I want to know how they're going to do certain things like the mechanics of Wolverine's regeneration. Because I know in X-Men Origins, you literally could get reduced to a skeleton and you would come back, which was really
He
cool.
gets pretty skeleton-y.
Yeah.
They blow a hole through him at one point. You see it heal, but then they show like it looks like when you get knocked down, there's a quick time event to like press buttons and stuff to like basically adamantium rage yourself into healing. And what they didn't really show yet is that a limited thing? Like, do you have so many knockdowns you can have before it's technically a game over and you got to start the
That's what I want to know.
I would assume.
So I'm going to assume if there's an easy mode or a casual mode that you can make that unlimited, and that's essentially the no die state, and that'll be really the only difference between, and then obviously for accessibility options, they'll make it so that you don't have to mash the button. It'll be like a press and hold.
Yeah, which
is what I usually use because mashing buttons.
I press enough buttons on my controller that I don't. It's like, oh, you can have 1 million presses on your controller before it stops. It's like, you realize 1 million button presses can happen within a few year period if you're mashing buttons like crazy like that.
And also if you play a lot of games like we do.
Exactly. Until Dawn 2 was shown off. It
that
looks
cool
for a while, but people didn't know which studio was making it. Yeah. So this is the Fire Sprite game. I believe that we had discussed previously when we were talking both on air and off air, and we were like, what studios are going to show up? And it's like, out of all the studios that they bought and then either shut down or laid off or whatever, we're probably not seeing Fair Games because that's basically poison right now until they figure out what to do with it. And there had been talk of them changing the name and yada yada. And then we were like, what's Fire Sprite working on? Because they were conspicuously
they're one of the only European studios that's still alive.
Yeah. And on top of that, they were like the only one of the new quote unquote studios that they had purchased that had 0 layoffs. And had 0, and nobody was talking about them. Like, nobody's talking about them, and nobody's talking about Media Molecule. And it's like, what's Media Molecule working on? They also didn't have any layoffs. So we're likely to see something from them. I wouldn't say in like September. I would think that might be something that they save for the Game Awards, like a tease of whatever they're working on. But those were the two studios. Media Molecule is basically the other UK European studio that they have, and it's like, how come we haven't heard anything from either of those studios? And now we find out it's because Until Dawn 2 was coming, which looks cool. And then I guess we saw more stuff from Control Resonant and Townfall, but those were basically the main things that were shown off. It was quite strong because you have like a 7-minute opening of gameplay of of Wolverine, and then at the end we have 20 minutes of basically almost uninterrupted gameplay of God of War Le Fay. That's pretty strong. It's one of the stronger state of plays that they've ever done.
Yeah. No, I do believe Sony got to announce the dates for Control and Silent Hill Townfall.
Yeah, there's updates to that.
That was the first of the silos of September's going to suck.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end for sure. And then, moving along, there was Summer Game Fest proper, which was by far the strongest he's ever had. The least amount of ads.
Easily.
The least amount of ads, the least amount of
gotcha bullshit.
Issues. Nobody rushed the stage. No interruptions.
It's designed because they moved to the Dolby. The Dolby is designed for television production. So for a show like Jeff's, it was good production if it weren't for the fact that connectivity in that building apparently sucks.
Yeah, whatever was happening, their OBS was thrashing or something where it was, on YouTube it was 4K 60, but then every 2 or 3 minutes going out of sync where the voices were off and you'd have to refresh, and sometimes it didn't work. Or you could go over to Twitch, watch it in 720p 60, where it never went out of sync, but would drop to like 5 frames per second.
Yeah.
And that was...
It kind of highlights, like, because the Oscars are going to YouTube, YouTube has been contemplating moving out of the Dolby to a different venue, and that's probably one of the reasons why.
It's
now that I think about it.
I have a hard time believing that they don't have good fiber there. I have a feeling this doesn't feel like a case of like it's his production equipment. They would have production equipment in there. I think that their computers, whatever system they're using for the actual broadcast, was having trouble encoding the video and sending it. Now, the real test would be if they're doing this here, like, because was this not the same place that he did the Game Awards last year?
No, this is the first time he's working in the Dolby.
Okay, because the Game Awards is also the first time he was on Amazon Prime, and that was a separate video ingest, meaning it's completely separate, and that was smooth as butter. Right. So I'm wondering if it was literally a trouble with YouTube specifically not being able to handle the amount of viewers from that specific spot.
It could be a tape.
Because he got like 60 million viewers across every platform, which is pretty crazy. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Outside of that, technical issues, it was actually quite a good show. It opened strong with Resident Evil Veronica. I could almost feel Mike screaming from Guelph.
I'm excited for this. I have some concerns from a lore perspective, but
they're rewriting some of the lore.
Yeah, like
they've already said it.
I'm actually replaying a lot of the Resident Evil games right now. I just finished 7. I'm going into 8 and 9. I've platinumed, which is rare for me. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to play, especially with Resident Evil 4's remake, how it changes some of the lore a little bit. But it's going to be cool. I'm excited, and it's about free time.
We'll save the big thing for the end that that was revealed, because that was pretty cool. But I figured it rolled right in after that, Michael, into like Alien Isolation 2.
That I did not expect. Honestly, I mean, it's been rumored for years.
Well, no, they officially announced it last year, I believe.
Yeah, but nobody knew that it would be
shown anything.
Yeah,
and it's shown that it's actually quite far along.
Yeah, and the fact that it's set on a planet is very interesting to me. So I'm like, all right, I'm in.
And it looks like you're part of a Yutani ship.
Yeah, so I really hope there's connections to like Alien Earth or stuff to Alien Romulus. Like, I hope they really start to sprinkle Easter eggs for canon, because I think Alien Isolation is considered canon, but I'm not 100% sure. But I love the fact that the Alien IP is still strong.
Me, I'm not quite as into it as you guys are, or especially you, Michael, into Alien. But that was something I always heard, was that Isolation was considered part of the mainline canon.
But because it connects enough stuff. I mean, Alien's canon is screwy to say the very least,
or at the very least, it is something that, if not directly connected, it's something that they've actually considered in the writing of the new movies.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So, I mean, regardless, it looks sick. I'm very excited for this. I'm definitely going to be picking this up on day one, where I will probably not get very far like I did in the first game. But I'm going to try.
Well, maybe this one will launch with a horrible AI like the Colonial Marines, where you could just, break it with a script.
Right past it. Yeah.
And go up to them and give them a boop on the nose, like those people that have like big lions and stuff at the centers, and they just go boop and they boop them on the nose. Stellar Blade, Blood Rain shown, looks like crazy good action. A lot of controversy around the character looking a little too young, which I kind of agree with, but you can just probably mod that out later. And if anybody wants to get mad at us for saying that, that's our personal opinions. You
also
can
not
right off that.
But also not being funded by Sony, which means it's going multi-plat.
Yeah,
which is cool. I'm glad more people get a chance to play this game, but still, it's weird.
It's Shift Up is one of the most, if not the most, unique and talented teams that we've seen come out of
Korea, for sure.
Korea. Like out of the Korean teams, it's that seems to be the one where it's like it's quite clear there's a lot of very talented people, and they're not doing cookie cutter. A lot of the other Korean and Chinese teams,
they know what they love, and what they love is what they do, and they do it very well.
Yeah,
and
it looks awesome.
And taking out the fan servicey stuff, remove that from your head entirely.
Yeah.
The actual core gameplay design is better with them than pretty much all the other teams that we've seen pop up in the last 5-6 years.
Any of the B or C tier teams at Platinum.
When I saw this game, I legitimately thought it was a Ghost in the Shell game or some weird cyberpunk expansion.
It really feels like a Ghost in the Shell kind of
Which
game.
would be fucking awesome. I'd rather have that than Stellar Blade. Fuck off. Give me the major.
But yeah, like it's one to keep an eye on. So we'll definitely be looking at that. Wolf Among Us 2, which was announced years and years ago. It's finally coming out next year. They're doing a remaster of the original. People are like, why are they remastering it? Because the original
even plays.
It's like 360 era. It's been years.
And it was the version that came out, I think, on PS4 was like a stuttery mess, and on PC it probably doesn't even really work on most modern PCs. I know it's not like Windows 10 certified or Windows 11 certified. On top of that, people don't realize, like, oh, you could still play it in backwards. The game was 720p at like 30 frames per second, and it could barely hold it. Now what they're saying is this version, they've touched up the remaster, yada yada, it's going to be 4K 60 on every platform. Good. That's you know what, at this point, you know, put that out, and it's not going to be a full price game. I think they already said it's going to be like $40. So
which is
and then the sequel, you know, will get hype. And for people that don't know, that was the Telltale game that was widely lauded as the best one out of all of them, even better than like the Batman ones and all the different ones. And was it Walking Dead 2 was considered the best one other than that, but like this was considered their best one.
Out of the Walking Dead ones, Walking Dead 2 is definitely up there. A lot of people like the finale of Walking Dead.
Yeah. But I think this one is the one that was universally seen as like this was their
also the also Wolf Among Us is the infamous Glassum prompt.
Yeah. So I mean it'll be good. It was nice to see that. Crossfire. Is this not the third iteration of Crossfire with the same name?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought this was some Call of Duty thing. I wasn't even sure what the hell this was.
The last one was done by Remedy, I think.
Yeah.
And then they made Remedy did the single player campaign, and then they unreleased the single player campaign. They just removed it from everybody. And then the whole game died. And it was like, what the fuck? So, but this is Remedy's working on this. I believe the creative leads on this are people that have worked on like Call of Duty and like a whole bunch of other single player games.
It's ex shooter guys.
From a bunch of different companies working on it. So cool. We can skip that part. We'll skip. TMNT Last Ronin was shown as being moved. It was one of the last two games that were being like there were two AAA games being.
So they canceled the movie that they were making.
They canceled the movie.
This is what people got confused with, because people confused the movie with the game. People thought the game was canceled. No, the movie was canceled. The game was still going on.
Yeah, like back when Embracer Group was at its height, they announced a couple of AAA games. A few of them moved over to Saber when Saber split from them, and when they were all sort of falling apart, what they basically retained were the Eidos Montreal and what was the other studio that they had, and Crystal Dynamics. They retained them and had them working on a few things. We know that right now Eidos Montreal is in sort of a weird place because they canceled the rumored that was, it turned out to be true. They were working on a new Deus Ex and they canceled it. And then the AAA games that they were technically working on were the Lara Croft Tomb Raider games in partnership with Amazon. Those are still moving forward, obviously. But the other game that they had from one studio, which was a AA studio that they had basically injected a whole bunch of capital into to expand, be bigger, which was, I believe, Black Forest Games, known previously for doing the modern remakes of, I think it was the SpongeBob games, and then
Yes.
it was SpongeBob games, I think, and the Destroy All Humans games, which were well received. And they're like, okay, we're going to give you a budget. We're going to make you make a AAA game, but not really give you a full AAA budget. And it was the last Ronin was announced. And it was like title reveal. That was it. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And then it sort of went into limbo. It looks like when Paramount did their big merger here, they revived their plans to do more games based on their IPs, and they didn't like that they were basically licensing out stuff to lower quality studios. You might still end up seeing some smaller titles come out, but you're not going to likely see, like, we had 2 or 3 games from them come out in the last couple of years that were all AA. Some of them were good, some of them were not great. And they went, okay, we're taking the last run, and they basically shut down that game. Half of that studio was basically erased off the map in September. That's why people thought it was canceled, along with the movie being canceled, and it wasn't. But it basically went down to the crew size that they were previously when they were doing remakes and remasters. So they're probably still going to be doing remakes and remasters. It's just they're not doing their own original game. And every asset was transferred to Platinum. And the team at Platinum that's working on this is the team that did Ninja Gaiden 4.
That's cool.
Basically, everyone that's left.
Yeah,
that's good.
Everybody who's talented that's left, and it's the director that was the junior director that people weren't sure was going to make a good game, and then Ninja Gaiden 4 came out, and they're like, oh, he can actually make good games. He's working on this. So expect a couple of year delay for this, but it will probably still be done on time and work quite well. So that was a good thing to see announced. And then I guess we should finish with the Final Fantasy VII Revelation reveal. That was a series of 4 trailers, but really it was sort of cut up out of 2.
It was one giant ass 20-minute.
Yeah,
preview.
Looks great. Well, we can probably at some point, when you guys are both completely done, your Mike, your replay, and then Ken, your full playthrough, we should have at some point in the summer a sit-down discussion, probably on the prototype, and talk about, your thoughts on that, as well as all the Revelation stuff, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming, and it's pretty rapid fire. They're being a lot looser now with discussing all of the aspects of this. They're not revealing too much, but there's enough meat on the bone for us to talk about in the future. Just to say that it looks cool. It looks like it's going to be much more open-ended gameplay. They've taken a lot of things into account of people's complaints of the previous 2 games, and they're trying to make like the ultimate final game there. And the other thing I'll say is, before that was shown, there was season 4 of Street Fighter 6 revealed, where they also included Tifa.
That's going to be... Now, I hope it's the same voice actress. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be, but...
It very likely would be, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be sick.
And they've said, like, the director of Street Fighter was like, yeah, no, we created an entire materia system. She plays completely differently than any other character in the game. We can't show her now, but we will show her eventually. I'm thinking they're going to probably show her off at... Evo, yeah.
Yeah. So
you think they do a character reveal of her in Evo, and then they do like a stage reveal later on before it launches?
She will come up just as the finals for Street Fighter 6.
I'm hoping, because there's a bunch of different stages they could do. I think the best one would be have her fighting right in front of Seventh Heaven.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or a Mako reactor.
But I was thinking, if they do Seventh Heaven, you could have all the characters in the background from the game watching.
That's true.
Right.
So anyway, moving on.
It'd be awesome. Anyway, just saying.
That's true. Now, as for the only indie thing I made you watch, Michael, was I made you watch the Exodus one, because that's the thing I was a part of. That's the thing that I have been waiting for. That's basically the closest we're getting to Mass Effect.
Finally, I give a shit about this game. I was like, oh, look, it's the thing Alex likes, whatever. I watched the trailer. Okay. Talking dog, interesting. Talking squid, interesting. Wait a second. This is like Andromeda if it didn't suck. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting combat. I'm like, all right. I finally give a shit.
It's the writer of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, plus he also was, I think, the lead writer on Knights of the Old Republic. Did some of the MMO stuff, but he was the main writer for Mass Effect 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Not 3 and onward.
A lot of the team from BioWare Dallas has gone to this team.
Basically, the Austin, Dallas people, the main people from there, as well as the team that worked on all their big games up until Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Worked on this, because the Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda and Dragon Age guys, the Dragon Age guys are basically gone into the ether, different studios, and hasn't worked out. Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda, half of those guys are what's there working on the new game. But the basic Golden Era, most of them that are key people have moved on with the Texas guys to form the studio. So it's basically a mixture of the Texas guys and some of the guys from Edmonton that moved down. The guys from Montreal that stayed are now working with the Edmonton people on the main game. So it looks pretty good, dude. Like the gameplay of it, the gameplay, like you said, it's like, Andromeda, but like less goofy. The movement is not going to feel like you have inertia. Like in Andromeda, how often were you moving and then like you're like, all right, I'm stopped moving my analog stick. Oh, I'm still running in that direction because for some reason it makes me think I have to keep running. Like it was kind of loosey-goosey in that game. This seems a little better. The time dilation stuff, the art style, I think, is more conducive to not having weird facial expressions. You remember Andromeda, dude. So it's not as photorealistic in the characters, but the scenery looks amazing. The backgrounds. So that's cool. We'll see as more comes. I was pretty happy that I got to check it out a little earlier. There was a Q&A on it, and there were some questions asked. I will say, I don't think they mentioned it in the actual showcases that they showed, but you cannot romance the octopus. They were very clear on that.
God damn it! Go by.
They said we're going to be clear on this for very distinct and reasons that you'll understand. And somebody else that was one of the other press people, asked, "What do you mean?" And they said, "We're not doing tentacle porn."
See, that's why I want it.
and then honestly, the one character, it's like, oh, this is the Garrus.
Yeah. There's a few of them, and then the one of the dev team people piped up right after and said, and also you can't romance the dog. Stop it.
We're not furries here.
And it was basically stop. We're going to stop you right there. You can't do that for obvious reasons. And then they said, but other people you can romance.
Yeah, sure.
And I thought okay. And then below that, like one of the devs is like, you know why we had to say that? And it's like, yeah, we know why you had to say that. So I thought that was fun. And anyway, moving on, we're at the Xbox Showcase. This is one of the stronger Xbox ones I think that they've done. And we should say that we're not talking about any stuff that was like previously announced, really, or that there's ports, because you'll hear about that in the Nintendo one. It's basically 90% ports that we saw in that. But for the Xbox Showcase, opened up with Gears of War E-Day.
This looks interesting because of the timeline for me.
It feels weird to see Dom not a big, chunky muscle man.
Like, the thing that I was hoping with this is to have it be a little more grounded, like have it only happen in like one or two cities on Sarah with less bombastic gear. Like when I saw them introduce,
they're doing, basically,
kind of, but not really. And what I mean by that is because I consider myself not a gear aficionado, but a pretty big Gears fan. And I'm looking at the weaponry now. To have the snub pistol makes sense. The Nasher shotgun, sure. Why would the police have retro lancers is my next question. Because it's pretty clear that Phoenix and Dom, if they're not cops, they're former COG, or at least maybe this is early on in their career.
The idea is they're early. They said that it's early in their career. They just got out of
basic.
They just won the war. They just won the war. and
Okay.
now they're on leave. I
Yeah,
guess.
see, I'd much
And
rather
then
have
everything
them
goes
be
to
like.
shit.
See, I'd much rather have a game that's more focused on like the paramilitary response, like cops and like civil defense, as opposed to, okay, here's the COG army. When I saw the Lancer cut through the one grub, and I'm thinking, okay, so you're gonna have the real Lancers, which is cool. I love the Lancer as a video game weapon, but
Well, the whole point is that they invented, if I remember the lore correctly, they invented the modern day chainsaw lancers during the E-Day stuff.
yeah, exactly, because otherwise they had like the bayonets. But I love the setting. I wonder which Carmine's gonna die in this one. But yeah, like honestly, I'm looking forward to this. I'm surprised it's launching so soon. So hey,
Well,
you know what?
I knew it was going to launch
This
early
year.
like it was either going to be September-y, August-ish was where I was thinking. It's coming out October, but like early October.
Yeah, so this is Microsoft's big holiday game. I don't know if it's going to do the numbers that they want.
It's that and COD.
It's that, and yeah, we'll see. Like, I was like, you know what? I remember I tried giving the other games, the original games, a play, and I was like, it wasn't for me. I thought I'll give the second remaster that they gave for free to
Reloaded.
yeah. I installed it on my PC, and I remembered why I stopped playing it initially. It does not work with Bluetooth headphones. If you have any Bluetooth headphones connected to a computer, it puts you into headset mode, which makes it mono and sounds like an old Bluetooth speaker from like 2005. And in Windows,
That's
you can
a
like
weird
force
bug.
in Windows you can force it to turn off that mode or disable it. It will, no matter what you do in Windows, it will force it back on, even if you, as an administrator, disable it. And that is something that affects it and a few other games, specifically Microsoft first-party games, but not all of their first-party games. It's whatever first-party games use whatever API that they're using. And you can go to Reddit forums, you can go to Microsoft support, and you know what their response is? Don't use Bluetooth headphones. I'm like, are you kidding me? So if I want to play it, and you can't, and with an Xbox controller, you can't plug wired headphones into it and use it on Windows PC. It doesn't work through Bluetooth that way. They don't. Yeah, exactly. Not yet. So I mean, I can do it. It just means I've got to wire up my headphones into my receiver or into my computer directly, or use like a USB DAC. And you could do that, but it's enough to frustrate me and go, nope, uninstalled. At least right now. But I have a feeling this won't work on the same technology because that
well, they
loaded
said,
whatever
they
it was.
said they built the E-Day engine is completely built from the ground up for the game.
and it's designed, they said, for Windows 11, so it's designed using, and I think the issue has been not even that it was designed for Windows 10. I think it's that the previous games, including this newest one that we had received as a remaster, was still based on tech used for Windows 7.
Yes,
so
probably
it's just outdated ways it does things. So that's a personal gripe, but I'll wire my headphones in and I'll play it because I think I should play at least that one, the first game, and then go back. I'm surprised they never put out computer versions of 2, 3, and Judgment.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Anyway, Halo campaign involved, showed off 3 new missions that they're going to be doing as prequels.
Missions.
Yeah, which is, again, okay, sure. I mean, if you're going to put Halo campaign evolved, in my opinion, if you're going to do 3 campaign missions, go the extra mile, do 3 more, and give us a medium-sized add-on to Halo Combat Evolved that is equivalent to Halo ODST. Give me the Sergeant Johnson game.
Give us our 3 early missions, and then secretly at the end, give us 1 at the end that bridges the gap between 1 and 2.
I guarantee you there's going to be something weird. If beat this on Legendary, which I guess I'll try. I've beaten most of these games on Legendary, but fuck.
Well, now they added 4-player co-op.
Okay, so now maybe we stand a chance.
I was going to say the 3 of us should jump in and try our best to beat it on like hardest difficulty, see if anything changes.
You guys
'Cause-
cover me, and I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause-
This is something I'm excited about. I'm nervous about because I feel like the Halo IP, like, I love it. I really do. I got really heavy into Infinite. I played it a shit ton. Now that it's coming multi-platform, that's cool. I honestly think this is great. Hell, you want to surprise me? Put Halo Wars 1 and 2 on the Switch because of that mouse control bullshit.
Oh,
Yeah,
That'd be
that wouldn't
nice.
surprise me if they do something like that.
I hope
At
so.
the same, and I know that the only thing is they've now said they're going back to exclusivity, right? So they probably won't
off.
beyond what the contracts are already there. The other one that would have made sense to go on Switch would have been Gears Tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But we'll see. But anyway, yeah, that looks. We'll see what happens there. More stuff. With Fable got its official release date. It was in February. That's
Sorry.
exactly.
Look,
We'll have to
I'm actually more interested, especially after I had posted it in our
Group chat.
right in the group chat. They did a full hour-long breakthrough of a full hour-long gameplay thing, and it's really in depth. There's a lot of systems in there. Honestly,
So-
it's systems that you can ignore, and you'll be perfectly fine. But it basically is what the original first Fable, what that one game was promised to be, is what this is.
So yeah, we'll have to really see when we get a chance to get like our hands on it ourselves. Clockwork Revolution got more trailery stuff. Said it's coming next year, and also it's
That's cool.
exclusive. So both E-Day and Clockwork Revolution are console exclusive plus PC, but specifically PC through I guess Play Anywhere.
The
Basically
Microsoft
through-
Store.
The State of Decay 3 finally was shown after like 5 years. They're about 5 years too late for zombies, honestly.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Senua, a new Senua Saga game or whatever, it looks neat compared to the others. Persona 4 Revival had its full gameplay reveal.
That was
and
cool.
it's clear they cast, for you won't know, Mike, but they recast all the characters, all the voices.
Yeah.
I was
they do.
wondering about that because I
fascinating.
did play a little bit of Persona 4 Golden. Like, I did play it originally on the Vita years ago, and now I'm playing it on PC on PlayStation 4. But I was like, this doesn't sound like I remember.
And if you had played the fighting games, the voices were the same in that, but now
Okay.
it's completely new voices.
Okay.
Yeah, they recast everyone.
cool.
Like
Coming
they
up
did
February-
with, P3.
February is becoming, just like in 2024, it's becoming the RPG month because you've got Isn't Stranger Than Heaven also coming in at the beginning of that
Stranger
month?
Heavens end of January, but yeah.
And then February is Persona and Fable. Persona 6 got its title reveal, but only its title reveal, which was a little surprising. Spyro Realm Beyond. They brought back what's his name as
This is
SpongeBob as the voice.
Tom Kenny.
Yeah, Tom
is it?
Kenny's back.
Yeah.
This is also the game that Toys for Bob are making.
Crazy Taxi finally got shown off, and it's big controversy because they used AI in its art generation. They say that none of that made it into the final art, but it doesn't matter. It seems like the PR damage has been done, which is unfortunate because it looks fun, but it also looks like they're going to be in massive spin mode trying to fix
Here's the
public
thing.
perception.
I've basically admitted, like, okay, in the next 2-3 years, everything that we see from AAA is going to have AI associated with something more
like,
than likely.
You just can't avoid it now. I mean,
You can't.
It's
you
fine
can't
if
avoid
you're
it.
using it-
You can avoid it now. The games that are starting now, but we're going to be stuck dealing with this for another 2-3
Their
years.
mistake was using it in the art. They didn't need to use it in the art. If you're using it for collision detection and for QR or QA, that's fine. The problem was it was pretty clear that they said that they only used it in the beginning. It kind of looks like some of it made it into the final because it looks like what they asked the AI to do was take Crazy Taxi and make it appeal to Fortnite players, and it looks a little bit like Fortnite.
They very Fortnite-ed Crazy Taxi. But that also makes sense for a live service game to have a simplified art style that you can just churn out.
So we'll see how they handle the spin on it. I still think it'll be fun to try. So we'll see. It will probably be free to play. Yeah, or launch with the entirety of the original game, and then the free to play aspect will be after you buy once, and then there's major expansions to different parts of the world as it goes for the world tour. My dad was walking by when I was watching it making notes, and he goes, "Oh, there's a new Crazy Taxi." That's the last game that he played regularly. Was on the Dreamcast, and he loved that game, and he's like, "Can I play it on any of my stuff?" And I'm like, "No." So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm probably gonna have to either lend him or find him I have a Series S, because that's good enough to play that. There's no way that's going to require more than a Series S to play and have fun. I'm just going to have to lend him my system, and he can just play
I think there was
days.
a remaster that came out a couple years ago, wasn't there?
He has
the last thing I know of Crazy Taxi, I think the 360 port is backwards compat.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's the third game or whatever had the version that I think you can still play, and there was a mobile game that nobody played, I think.
Yeah, because that just
sounds like a
memory hole
move.
Yeah.
They showed off more of Metro 2039 and Resonance Plague Legacy, which was already announced previously. They just showed off more of those. And
is it weird? Whenever they show off the Metro games, I feel like I should care. I played one of those games for review for one of the radio stations. This would have been about 10 years ago or something. And I couldn't care. It's maybe that was my depression speaking, but the gameplay was
the atmosphere is really cool. The execution is very hit or miss. You either really love it or you don't. It has really good lore. That's this big thing.
Yes.
It has.
Aren't the books better?
Lore.
It's using the book lore.
Yeah,
and there's
basically,
a massive amount of books.
As deep of a lore and world as Fallout is, that's how deep this is. It's just, it's
Russia.
it's a little too survival horror-y for my but it's really cool. Really cool stories behind it. It has the bleakness though of the Eastern Bloc compared to Fallout.
Okay.
It doesn't have the Americana tongue-in-cheek 1950s Americana feel. It has very much the
Cold
everything
War
is
era.
sad. Everything is sad, and there's no hope.
Yeah, I mean nowadays.
The Worker and Parasite meet Fallout. Gotcha.
Yes. I know for all these summer sales, the last 3 games they've packaged and you can get that for $15-$20.
Maybe I'll try
might
it
be worth
again.
you. Yeah, they always make them dirt cheap, and also all of the proceeds for the last times that they've done the sales have gone to help Ukraine, because that's where the studio was based.
Well, that's an instant buy then, so I'm in.
So they've had to move, I believe, to Poland, I think, to finish the development of these games.
Some of the team is in Poland, some of them are still in Ukraine.
Yeah, right near the border. They're basically on the west. They had to move their studio to the western border where it's safer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what and it's not you're supporting the war. It's not that. The money is going to food relief and stuff for the displaced families and stuff. So good causes. Whenever you do purchase, a lot of times it'll pop up. This trilogy is on sale for $15, and by the way, all the proceeds are going to this, that sort of thing. And that is out of all the studios that are left with Embracer, 4A, I think it's the studio 4A Studios. That's their last true AAA that they own completely outside of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. So that's the Embracer Group's one AAA game this year.
Okay, that's cool.
How the mighty have fallen from owning 30 studios to
3. Yeah.
To owning 3 that are really worth a damn when it comes to money makers. And then we go into the Nintendo Direct, which was when I was watching this,
all the third parties are accepting Switch 2.
Yeah.
It was basically, Michael, I cut it down so that it only had the most important things for you to watch.
Mhm.
It was nearly 45 minutes of every port of every game from the last 6 years.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool just to see the Switch 2 get its library expanded.
But it also wasn't what you expect from a Nintendo first party major direct. It was everything from a partner direct. And I watched this, and at the end, all I was thinking in my head was something you had said to me one time before when watching. I think it was a couple of years ago. There was a Nintendo partner direct that had almost nothing you wanted to watch, and all you sent me was a message just saying, "Well, that was a pussy fart." And I remember saying, "What do you mean?" And you said, "Only a little bit of air, no beef." Like, what the fuck? Sorry, I'm sorry for our listeners. That's the kind of comedy we have between us.
Yeah.
I want more. It's the beef, motherfucker.
And I was like, yes. I want my. Basically, you said, "I want my farts to be full of beefy goodness."
I want the Wendy's fart.
Yes, give me a good old Wendy's fart, not an Arby's fart, because that will bust down the walls, right? But
I was like, ugh. I mean, this year's Nintendo had a few things that honestly surprised the hell out of me. Like, the big thing I didn't expect was the Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time remake. Now, this is a game I do not like 3D Zelda outside of the Dynasty Warriors games. I know, blasphemy, fuck off. This might get me to play. Because I know
modernizing Ocarina of Time to a more because like Ocarina of Time is
a relic of its time.
Made
it's great,
what made 3D camera work.
Yeah,
like it was the first game that made 3D camera movement work.
Mm-hmm.
So
it made sense.
Now that
in the era before PlayStation was doing dual analog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people forget, people think, especially even our age, people forget that the DualShock controller didn't exist until '98.
Yep. Like, I remember when they released Resident Evil 2, like, DualShock Edition. We're like, okay.
Yeah, it was basically, it wasn't until the second half of the PS1. So basically a year before we got DualShock is when we got the experiments with, Mario was the true experiment, but really where it started to feel like a real thing was Zelda, and that was a year before we started getting it on PlayStation.
Yeah. But
so
I'm in, and the fact that it comes out this year, that's their holiday game. Guarantee it.
Yeah, they haven't said. It's probably November. It's probably why they didn't say anything.
It's probably November.
Oh, yeah.
It also, it was, you were pretty good, Mike, because you don't pay attention to any of the rumors. This was one of the rumors that was leaked, saying that it was probably coming. They didn't show anything other than the graphics, but, we'll see. Beyond that, a little more on Star Fox. They dropped a demo. I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Same here, yeah.
Splatoon Raiders, Nintendo
Cool
Switch
idea.
Sports Resort.
I've got some fucking problems with.
What, you mean the thumb wrestling thing that lasted forever?
No. Oh, okay. I'm looking at that. Some of those games I cannot play. Cannot play jump rope. The skateboarding game maybe service dependent.
Again, Nintendo and accessibility, especially with some of the sports titles, is friggin' garbage.
Which is amazing. Like, I know they work with certain people that we know. How in the flying fuck did this get this far without
real reason? Honestly,
they just don't care.
They don't give a
Japan, the market. It's cynical and probably wrong to say Japan doesn't care about disabled people. It's more Japanese culture doesn't really think about disabled people. There isn't really there. It's not that they don't like them. It's
just not considered
culturally
out of mind. It is more
culturally they consider disabled people a burden on society, and that's a society kind of thing with Japan.
Like, they won't necessarily put a ramp up into a building. It's expected that your caregiver will take you up into the building. Like, it's expected that a lot of the onus is on the person not so much the ability to make it accessible.
Institution.
And we don't live there, so we're giving generalizations. That is what at least they seem to project outward.
It's funny you
where
mention that. I had a friend of mine who literally just came back from Japan. They went to Pokemon Go Fest in Tokyo. And I asked him, like, hey, man, just how accessible is Tokyo? And he's like, not really, actually. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's, like, no ramps. You can't get in the certain building. You couldn't move your wheelchair in half of the stores because they're so tightly packed. I was like, really? And I'm like, wow, that sucks.
It's a cultural thing. Most of Asia is like that way. It's always just a little more surprising that Japan is that way. And it's like, well, what about the accessible controller? The accessible controller initiatives have all been from Microsoft, which is American based, and Sony, which is focusing on the Western and European markets for
global. They're more global companies.
And those accessible controllers are weird. Like, I reviewed the Sony one and it was awkward.
It's because it's designed for disabilities that you don't really have.
Yeah,
it's
maybe more like a Farouk sort of thing, maybe.
Yes, they have inputs that you can use to then tie it to software. Like if you need to use like a Stephen Hawking eye blinking thing, or a touchpad, like you can adapt it so that it works with a tablet, so that then you can touch the tablet as your inputs, and it would translate it into button presses.
Okay,
like there's stuff like that, or ability for it to tie into your voice activated stuff. Like if you don't have hands, it's actually easier to use than if you have hands, if that makes any sense. Like
exactly.
There's a lot of cool stuff with it. It's just, but again, that's not something, Nintendo has never ever thought about making something like that. It's just not their bag.
Well, the only thing, the accessibility of like something like a Nintendo Switch is because they have USB ports and USB-C relatively standard.
So there's that. So, and Rhythm Heaven here, I'm just saying Rhythm Heaven, sure, but like they started out the show with Rhythm Heaven Groove, the last, as far as we know, first party Switch 1 game or Switch 1 only game, and that was not how you start. The pacing was all really
the
weird.
Entire pacing of this Direct was Nintendo really doesn't want to do a Direct, but they have to do a Direct.
Well, yeah, because now they're kind of forced into it.
It was quite clear that it was the Japan people putting it together. They also apparently showed off the RPGs that they didn't show off here or were only in the montage. Were actually fully shown in the Japanese version. It's like, really?
Of course they were.
Anyway, and it's very clear that the new Nintendo America president, Devin, whatever her last name is, has no real control over even how
100%. As much as Doug Bowser didn't have control, she has zero control.
Like very little, even in how it's presented, it was so awkward. And at the end, they just have her come out and read from a teleprompter. She looks so uncomfortable just to throw it over to Treehouse. It was so awkward looking. She has not had any media training whatsoever.
I don't think she wants media training either.
It's odd, but yeah, like it's we'll see. But anyway, Ocarina of Time looks cool. They showed off more Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, which comes out in September.
God damn it!
And then, but Xenoblade games all the first 3 games got upgrades or getting upgrades for Switch 2, and they're not like the X one where it was using AI to upscale it. It looks like ground up. And I can confirm that it is for at least the first game, because they did send me a review code of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition Switch 2 version. The version on Switch 1 is 14 gigs, 14 and a half roughly. It's almost 40 gigabytes on the Switch 2.
Now, Alex, you know how I play games. You know which type of games I like. Yes or no?
No.
For one, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only because that was the one that felt the most like an MMO.
Oh, okay.
Two has characters you'd like, but there's a gacha mechanic, and not that you have to pay anything, but there's too much random number generation in 2. Yeah. You'd be best watching a storyline explanation of 1 and a storyline explanation of number 2 online. Those are actually quite fun because the lore is pretty neat. The third game, 100%. Each game has a unique, complete story, but there are underlining threads that connect them together. And without being too spoilery, there is some.
The DLC of 3 concludes a storyline that is overarching.
For all 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's think Final Fantasy VII remakes where there's like parallel things happening.
Right.
Yeah.
It's basically parallel realities essentially.
Okay.
That's how they're connected.
All right.
But the third game 100% is one of the best games ever put out in the last 10 years.
Wow.
So yeah,
And that's
so yes,
that Switch 2 version is coming out in December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Next time I see you, I'll lend you, because we got a family sharing thing going
plan.
on.
Yeah.
I will share you my copy of the first game, and you can at least give it a try and see how it feels for you.
Okay.
And then of course, and my review should be coming in the next week or so for that. I said, hey, I need a week. They sent it to me and I'm like, I need a week because I need to at least play. I know I've beaten the game, so I don't need to play everything, but I need to get a feel for it. So expect that in the next regular show that we have.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much that. The Kingdom Hearts 4 was shown with shockingly bad graphics.
Because it was running on Switch 2.
Yeah, it didn't really
Watch-
blow me away.
Literally,
It
just
looks like a
watch
piece-
this. Watch what they threw on Square Enix's channel.
Yeah, because on the Switch 2, it looks like a PS2 game. It looks like PS2 graphics, like late era PS2, but still looks like PS2. And then if you watch the trailer, the one I included for you, Michael, actually is the better trailer. Because it looked rough on its own.
It looked way worse. Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy Resonance, which is something I was worried when I saw it. I was like, awesome, and then I was like, wait a minute, is this that Brave Exvius crap on mobile? And yes and no. Story apparently is mostly lifted from that mobile game that they had. They stripped out all of the extraneous crap from it, tightened it up, gave it a brand new world to explore with an overworld and battle system. And they've done this.
Zeroed it.
Yeah, which Octopath Zero was the single player, I guess, reinterpretation of the mobile game. So it looks cool. I think we'll hopefully get a chance to check it out. And that was basically everything that was new shown that wasn't like a port and all this. I think it was pretty good overall. It was a bit of a letdown on Nintendo's side that they had very little to show first party. Like, we're now a year in and we didn't see gameplay at all for their Zelda game. And everything else, basically all they revealed that was first party, that was like completely brand new, was a sports title. And then next year's, next year's Xenoblade Genesis, which looks to be a completely new world, disconnected completely from the first 3 games.
They've already said this is starting a new arc.
Yeah, which means that it likely has nothing to do with the originals. So, I mean, cool, but yeah, we'll see. So I guess we should have just a very quick discussion before we start to wrap up. Talking about what did you guys think? Obviously, we said it's one of the stronger overall Summer Game Fest E3 seasons in many, many years. At least since the pandemic, I think this was the strongest one.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's. I was surprised that we didn't see certain things. We still didn't see anything from Judas. We didn't see anything from BioShock 4. We didn't
2K
see.
is literally holding all of their marketing money for
Yeah.
GTA.
The only thing
And just
they
no
showed,
GTA showing up either.
no GTA at all.
Yeah.
And the only thing that 2K showed, they didn't show any of their sports titles. The only thing they showed was a storyline, story DLC expansion for Mafia: The Old Country coming, I believe, next month. And that is basically the only thing that 2K has outside of whatever sports titles. Like, we know they're going to have an NBA game coming, and that'll probably be it until GTA. So that's all they've got for the whole year, but that's all they really need. And I'm trying to think, were there any were there any things that surprised you guys? You know, I had thought about like, should we talk about like what are our 3 best? No, like, was there anything in particular that really surprised you that you're like, oh wow, that looks neat?
I'm surprised Final Fantasy was dated.
Yes,
it was
at
sort
least
of
given
dated.
that. I'm surprised.
It was
but I'm surprised that they showed as much as they did.
Yeah,
yes.
same.
Yes, that I will say. Kingdom Hearts 4 just showing up randomly on a Nintendo Direct was odd, but also the fact that the kind of obvious thing that we didn't touch on that support is Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 collections are actually coming to Switch 2. I've played the demo of 3. There's a lot of DLSS being used, but
also, they shut down the cloud versions.
Yeah, they shut down the cloud versions that barely run on any place in North America anyway, so who cares?
But Michael, if you want to get the trilogy, they're selling it as a bundle digitally, and you'll be able to get it, I think, physically.
Yes,
maybe not.
They are.
It's good.
It's not going to be. It's going to be a game key card, obviously.
Yeah, Michael, it's 130 gigabytes on the Switch 2.
Jesus,
yes.
It's like most of the fucking thing, isn't it?
It's like it's about
the size of Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth combined.
Yeah, well, the 3 demo was like almost 40, 50 gigs.
Because that was a 50 gig game on PS4.
Yeah.
So on its own, and this is actually technically supposed to be a superior quality version, but
they're also delisting the original collection that they had of all 3 games.
Yeah, that was
they're basically rebranding it.
That was a box that you could. I had purchased it when it was like $30, and that bundle was a cardboard slipcover, and the first disc was a 2-disc set that had the 1.8 or 2.8, whatever it was, the 2 remixes there, and then the second disc or second box was Kingdom Hearts 3 plus that 2.8, whatever that in between disc.
Plus,
so
it was
it was a 4 Blu-ray set, so it ended up being like 200 gigs. So the fact that they were able to shrink it, it's kind of cool. But that's going to be the biggest game ever on the Switch 2, at least right now.
Yeah.
The other surprise that I thought, and I forgot to mention it, was Xbox also revealed a brand new game, the Magician one, The Devil's Deal, I think it's
kind of cool. I was surprised by that. Actually.
That was my surprise. And it's like, first person magician magic devil game.
It looks
cool.
Looks like anyone that left the BioShock studio is probably working on this game.
That's really what it looked like. Yeah. And you could the coolest thing we saw in that trailer was using a spell to invert the world so that up is down and down is up.
Yeah.
That looked kind of neat. And then I guess, was there anything that you were hoping to show up that didn't show up?
I thought we might have seen more of Persona 6, maybe, but I wasn't holding my breath at that.
The Fallout remakes.
As of this recording, we're gonna see more of P4 Revival tomorrow.
Yeah, so for me, like you said, the Fallout remakes, Michael, I was surprised that they didn't have New Vegas as a remake.
Fallout.
I was, as far as like all the studios out there, there's a bunch like I could say, I would love it. I was genuinely surprised that we saw the Final Fantasy Resonance game and didn't see FF9. Seeing as that's still part of that. I know that people are like, it could have been canceled. You don't cancel a game that you've had on the books that you can't write off for the last 6 years. Like, they can't write it off. Why would you not release it if you've already had the sunk cost?
Especially when you miss the anniversary. The anniversary was last year.
And the anniversary, all it had was the one song and the concert, and it was like they threw that out there, and it's like, wait, you're having an album come out? Where's the game? It's not even like they did. Even if they didn't want to bring out like the full remake that was supposedly out there, supposedly done,
just a port.
Why wasn't there an updated version of the 9 port to have slightly better AI scaling or something?
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to say something that I really wanted to see and I didn't see, I would have loved to have seen the ports for Transformers War and Fall of Cybertron, because there's rumors that they
is
exist.
highly rumored, yeah.
Yeah, so if I had to pick, that would have been cool. But I guess not. So fuck me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably in limbo because of Paramount rights and whatnot.
Yeah. Because Paramount
So,
Paramount also, after the showcases, announced one that they have a new publisher, Paramount Games, and they've put a few other studios under that banner. They're doing the TMNT Last Ronin. They're also putting out the Avatar fighting game under that banner.
Yes.
And that's why it was pushed back a month.
Well, that does now explain why they pushed it back a month, because I was curious
it was to get packaging ready.
Yeah. So look, the Avatar fighting game is a lower budget fighting game. This is going to be like a side bet game at EVO kind of thing. So. And
the other game that they announced a Star Trek survival game starring I think it's Ensign Ro.
That's cool. I'm into that shit.
Bloober Team is making it.
Yep.
And
also then another thing, Crimson Moon, the Souls Meets Doom game that got shown off earlier this year, that is now slated for September because screw everyone else.
So without going deep into it, every game basically was avoiding November because of
except for
of
2
GTA. Yeah, we'll say that briefly, but we're not going to list them all. But basically, every major release for the rest of the year is skipping the summer. Like, there's almost nothing. The rest of this month is basically Star Fox. There's 1 or 2 games in the summer. That's it until the very end of summer, and then everything is crammed from the last week of August until the last week of October. There's like 20 games, and it's like, oh my god. And some of them are very similar, releasing around the exact same time, and it's going to be nutty. The only games releasing in November, at least as of right now, it's probably going to be, like you said, Zelda might pop up there, which is going to be immune from GTA. It's a completely immune game. It's one of the only ones that can
Zelda is
people will
going to be in November.
People will buy both.
Yeah. Also, officially on the same day as GTA is the Barbie collection.
Yep. The Barbie collection, which is done by
Godzilla.
Digital Clips, and the Godzilla remaster. Both Atari is putting out their AA collections and remasters at the same time, and it's like, okay, I saw that there was the Simpsons meme of climbing the mountain.
But like, if anything's going to be immune to GTA, it would be Barbie and fucking Godzilla.
Yeah, but as far as AAA, it's basically Nintendo. Anything Nintendo puts out, or like Pokemon or Zelda, and that is immune because people will buy both of those, and every other game will suffer.
Yes.
So we'll see what goes up from there, but that's basically it right now. We will have to come back and do more discussions as the summer goes on. Obviously, there's going to be stuff at Opening Night Live. If there's at the end of the summer, that's when we'll be sure to do coverage for this. I don't think there's any other major showcases in the summer, unless something crazy happens at EVO that you want to talk about. We can do that. The prototype over the summer will be the discussions on Pragmata. We might do a discussion as well on Final Fantasy VII and where we think it's going. Those could be 2 interesting topic shows for the next 2 months that we just put out at random. Won't be a specific date for either of these. They'll come out when we feel like they come out. It'll be fun stuff to have over the summer, and we'll see if there's any more. Maybe we'll get an interview or 2. We'll see what happens, but there's a lot of cool indie stuff coming out. There's a lot of really cool AAA stuff, and we'll have to see what, there's probably going to be a blowout trailer at some random point for GTA. I'm going to assume that's Opening Night Live, that's where they show that off. It's not something you'd see at TGS. That'll be more Final Fantasy, but it is a European developed game. That's the last major showcase before it would be coming out, and I don't think they want a deal with Sony to show it off at their September State of Play that they usually do. It feels like that's going to be the headliner for Opening Night Live. So we'll see that in August, if not sooner than that. If you guys have any closing thoughts, say them now. Otherwise, we're going to probably shoot this off into the sunset.
Honestly, pleasantly surprised by what I saw this year. It's nice to give a shit about certain things. Exodus, didn't care. Now I do. that's impressive to me. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah, for me, Sony is finally getting to the point where it's, well, shit, now I gotta get a PS5. And then Xbox doubling down on trying to be console-exclusive games, trying to build the platform back up from where they were a little more open-ended in how they wanted to release their games. So
there's a rumor going around that they're Satya Nadella is going to do one final push before they did. Like there's talk of maybe spinning off the company as a separate entity. Not that they wouldn't own them, but like that they would actually truly run separate, so that their bottom line wouldn't be subsidized by the main company, but also it would give them autonomy.
Also because Microsoft's expectations as a company, given the amount of money they spend versus revenue, is ridiculous, and no other company fucking functions like that.
Yeah, so spinning them off would help.
Would
a
be
little
nice.
Bit. There is talk of before they do the spinoff that there might be one final round of between $400 and $800 million of injection specifically for them to develop exclusive games. And it wouldn't be like nowadays you're like, oh, well, that's only going to make them 2 games with budget. No, the idea would be that would be to fund somewhere between 4 and 5, between 400 million or whatever, 4 and 5 AAA titles that would be exclusive, and that's where they would then base their IPO spinoff on, based on the potential that those 4 or 5 games could make.
And I think the new head of Xbox, Asha, she's saying all the right things, and she's understanding all the right faults in the company right now.
It's also funny
we'll
because
see where she takes it.
Exactly, and I hadn't seen her talk before doing all this stuff, and I was like, she's got a Wisconsin accent, which is hilarious. Hearing a big CEO of a tech company talk, and it's like she's doing her best to sound like tech bro, West Coast sound, but I'm like, that is such a Wisconsin accent.
You can see why she got the job.
She's good at marketing. She knows what she's doing in her field of market acquisition.
She understands marketing. She understands that she needs good engineers to come in and fix a lot of things. So
the previous team
had
good ideas, really bad execution, and this is hey, we don't have unlimited money to just explore random ideas. We have to look at what worked as a core and get back to core company policies. Basically, she's bringing it back to how they thought of during the Xbox 360 expansion era. And that, again, will be a discussion for another time, but that's going to do it for us here at the Prototype. It's been a wild last couple of weeks. It's going to be an interesting summer and fall. We're going to try to do our best to cover as many things as possible in the fall. Some things might get shifted to gift guide as they get closer to it, or reviews that come out during the winter season. We'll have to see, because I got to tell these companies, you got to start giving us codes a month and a half early if you're going to want reviews of some of these things.
Well, why do you think I'm buying
September?
Why do you think I'm buying a PS5?
Yes, because then we can spread the reviews. We can spread the review codes around a little easier for us to make sure that everybody can hear everything that's going on. But that's going to do it for us here at This Week in Geek. We'll be back sometime in the next few weeks with something, and also all the regular cool shows that we have every single week for you right here at thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.